It's okay.
So it survived 6 grognards, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. Nobody could deny that, right?
I gotta say, well
Got
done.
a lot of new, nice moving parts. I can see why.
How many of us really died though? Because I know I went down once.
I kind of went.
Greg went down twice.
I went down
before
once.
we got in.
I'm the only one who did. I don't think went down.
I think Rob was the only one who didn't go down.
Too busy healing us.
I missed the TPK by that much.
It could have been a contender for the TPK.
Could have been.
If only there had been more hatching.
Yeah.
Really. I tried to dice it up to make it look good, but
some map makers put in the effort, others don't.
Yeah, some don't. Some do it on break over 10 minutes.
And then lose it.
Well, I gotta say, over 200 views.
What's everybody think about the system? What are your thoughts?
It's
survived.
I like it. Yeah.
There's going to be. I think it's going. People are going to like it as well as OSC.
I do. It's better than OSC, Rob. It's going to be the new thing.
Yeah, it's way better than OSC in terms of emotional, fun and that kind of stuff. To me, like there's two kinds of games. There's like a cerebral type of game where you're really playing like Joe's 2E campaign that we're about to start up, or
Rob's game.
Yeah, Rob's game. The way I play my game. But it's like a beer and pretzels movie or beer. It's something like that. Like it's for fun. Like I loved running the Alien modules for the same reason. Like it's super fun, short, contained, but like you didn't have to do a lot from the prep perspective. So that just it's like a beer and pretzels movie. It's not it's not Shawshank Redemption,
Right.
but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's good. It's rocks.
I think what they did with the talent, they literally came up with a customization feature that's not overkill, like feats were.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I think in the zines there's some more classes, and I know somebody was posting. They have a Discord, and somebody was posting, I think, a Bard class, and I think somebody might have done a Druid. I think I saw in there. So it's I think it's easy enough to.
How long did it take to block that Bard person?
Bastards. I like Bard.
Yeah, no, I think it's easy enough to hack, and it's so light that you really can. And I mean, I hate to say OSR wise, but it really does. If you are used to doing rulings versus rules, it definitely is amicable to that sort of style of gameplay. I mean, I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but I used that D6 mechanic multiple times. I was just like, I mean, as a DM, I didn't have a feel either way. I just rolled the dice and went with the dice roll, and it completely was logical within the mechanics and the scope of the game. I thought it was, I thought it was easy. Really, I to do this, I used a rune hammer trick that he has on his blog where he rolls some dice, and whatever the die roll is, where it lands also determines what ability you have to do there. So the first one was a strength check. Then there was an int check, or was it a wisdom check to notice the poles? I forget which one it was. And then also the int check for the door. So I used that to quickly, I mean, literally that I spent maybe 10, 15 minutes tops coming up with that adventure. And then I randomly decided skeletons, and then the white actually I just threw into the game because I actually hadn't planned you guys going in the church at all. I figured you guys would fight the skeletons and then book it to go find Ivy. But anyway,
we're not Nutcheese fans, really. That's
so I think she needs to define some of the conditions like invisibility. I mean, it doesn't need to be overly detailed, but one page that says this is what like traditionally it's -4.
The halfling ability?
No, I searched the whole document. Invisible is not specified anywhere.
It's the spell, Rob.
Yeah, but why do we need to define more? I actually
say
it says in the spell description if you attack, it's dispelled, stuff like that. Like so, there are it's incomplete in terms of. But I agree with what you're saying in a sense. But once you start going down that road, it leads to third edition.
I understand, but I think just you can add the clarification. It would help people, and you don't have to go any further.
Once you break that, it's a slippery slope, Rob. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, you're
so you're talking about the sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the halfling ability.
Yeah, because the does it say it's actually the same as the spell effect? Because it doesn't.
It doesn't say. Yeah, and
it should say.
I actually like that better.
You're invisible for 3 rounds.
Right, and that I like that it's that thinly defined, because then, like in the course of our discussion, what does that mean? If he attacks, does he become visible? As an OSR guy who's been playing for 4 decades, innately I want to say, well, yeah, whenever you cast a spell invisible, you become visible when you attack, but these rules don't necessarily say that. So
Invisible Stalker doesn't become visible by attacking.
Yeah, so I think actually by this, he doesn't. He becomes invisible, and he only becomes visible when he wants to. Or
by that same token, then I should have been able to hit his ass even I couldn't see my magic missile. Doesn't it say I need to see him?
Well, no, because then it opens up to rulings, not rules. And I think that me personally, I think you need to be able to see your target.
I would have ruled the same way,
man. I guess maybe if
I'm a player. I'm going.
I think we can agree that whether something like invisible should be defined as a condition is right on the hairy edge. Some of us don't think it needs to be. Some of us does, but I don't think we need to go much further. I mean, it's almost right. I think it's almost right. You think it's right. But I think that's a good place for this to be. Anyway, you know.
Well, and I think because it's so rules light, I mean, honestly, if I had to define this game, I would say this is more of a beer and pretzel game. I think you could run a long campaign with it, but I think it almost lends itself better to short, quick little sessions. I think I'm sure somebody will be like, "Oh, I ran for 4 years."
Yeah, no,
but could.
I think it's kind of like DCC in that you can run a campaign of it, but they've got to be in short spurts where they're all like self-contained. Like I can see you running 2 or 3 sessions and everybody's in one place. I wouldn't run it like a sandbox. It doesn't feel sandbox to me. It feels more I don't want to say heroic, because we're certainly more fucking heroic, but it doesn't it's not as gritty, or it could be. I would like to. I would love to tune this into a bit more gritty game. I think that would be interesting. Like the healing, you can knock it down to just you get 1 hit die back from a long rest.
Yeah,
that might be a nice compromise.
That was
I can see
that was alternate rule or something like that.
If I wanted to, I can see the hooks where I can take my Majestic Fantasy stuff and tune it to fit the tone and tenor of this, but still do some of the things, like have the Myrmidon, but it would be a much even a lighter Myrmidon than I have now, and or a lighter Paladin than I have now.
Here's the issue I would say to your campaign statement, Eric. The issue is once you get out of the dungeon, people start coming up with a whole range of ideas beyond the constraints of the dungeon that you don't have answers for in a rules light system. That's the issue. When you're there was somebody made some blog post back in the Google Plus days about like the purpose of the dungeon is to constrain all these choices so that you're not choosing from 40 options, you're choosing from 6.
Right.
And once you get out into the game world where you can just do anything, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get a horse, I'm going to ride over this way, then it starts to break down as a simulation. Like when you're in a limited circumstances, it's great as a simulation without being, the problems aren't visible. But when you start opening it up to infinite choice and in moving out of the world, then it just becomes harder. Unless you had the whole world was like, 1 mega dungeon or something, they're going to start wanting to do other things.
Yeah. So the problem I see, Greg, in that with this, for supporting that more expansive style of play, is that when you do that, you need to do things other than combat and spell casting, and then that leads you to the desire to be better at some things that are not combat and spell casting. And in such a minimalist system, it's hard to be better at things.
Red Cap just nailed it with that comment. Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
When you move from basic dungeon to expert overworld, things do get more difficult rules wise. This feels much more like basic than expert.
Yeah, that's well said. This will take you, if the average time to level up in old school is, 5 sessions before you get to level 2, another 5 to level 3. That was in my head. I was thinking, this thing's got 12 sessions to a campaign. It's got legs for a 12-session campaign. That's about it. Because after that, you start to get into the more complicated crap, right? And then it's just going to fall apart. Unless you're an experienced DM who's played it for X decades and know how to just pull shit out of your ass and roll with it, right? But for a new guy who's starting off in D&D, this is Redbox, and then you would need some level of ShadowDark expert or whatever you want to call it to get into the other shit. Next thing you know, then you get the ShadowDark Rules Cyclopedia, right? Eventually.
Yeah. The one thing I would add to that is tonight we only use the quick start rules, which in the scope of gaming, everybody knows that's the free thing that they give out to you. So you buy the bigger book. I know that there's carousing rules in the other book. I have not looked at that. I think I know I have the beta rules, but I don't know if that's even in there. I haven't read that one. And then I know I want to say I read on the Discord, I think there's some hex crawling stuff in the other book. I could be wrong on that, but I thought, so I think the other book, I mean, think about it. We have 260-page documents, and I think the full book is 320 pages, I think.
Right.
So there are more rules than just what we've seen here. So some of those,
a well-supported system. They've got a nice zine that goes with it.
There's 3 issues of the zine already, I think.
So Scott Baker, thank you. It's a good demo by folks with a long gaming history and are not connected to the game development. A much different perspective than Kelsey's playthrough.
How so, Scott? If you can elaborate, I'm curious because I haven't seen her playthrough. What are your thoughts? If you could type it up there, Scott, I'm curious. But and Victor says, there's more styles of play in the full core book and zines, so there are more rules for the more styles of play. I'm looking forward to it.
They're used for 6 abilities for checks and saves. Means that if you do want that, add just slightly more detail, expert level detail, they already got a path to that through the fact that they have the ability check system in the basic world.
There is no saving throw system in this game, is there? I just realized that.
No, it's all ability.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
which lines up with 5e, if I remember right. I mean, that's
kind of, you're doing it. Yeah.
Well, 5e has saves. They're just the base. They're just another type of ability check.
Yeah, you get or you ever get a proficiency bonus added to it or not based on your class. That's all it is for 5e.
I will say the only thing that I don't like about the rules, and this is just a nitpick for me, I don't like the experience point system. And it's a stupid reason, but I don't like going into a dungeon and getting 1 or 2 experience. To me, that seems like I got robbed. I want 1,000 experience points. I know it's stupid, but that's just the way, for 40 years, I've been getting 500, 400 experience points, and now I'm getting 3. I'm like, what? And that's just a personal pet peeve. But
how did they do gold for XP? Because didn't I read somewhere there's gold for XP in this? How do you manage to move that in if you're getting 1 XP if you kill a dungeon?
It's on a sliding scale.
Yeah.
The higher level, the more gold you need for 1 XP point.
All right. Oh, so So X amount of gold equals an XP. It's not 1 gold for 1 XP.
No.
Okay.
No.
Her game was with people she knows. Obviously, she knows the rules better. True. There also wasn't the compare and contrast we old grognards can do. There was definitely excitement playing with her friends. Were we not exciting, Scott?
That's fine.
Well, I do think it was interesting because we don't know all the rules, but there were some situations where even if you were familiar with the rules, I would bet those situations were not covered. And so this is a bunch of guys that, what do we have between the 6 of us? Role-playing experience, 150 years experience or something, maybe more.
Started in 78 to the math.
It was an interesting dynamic that situations came up that, and I even asked you guys a couple of times as GMs how you would handle something. So I think maybe you got some different perspectives of how people that have been gaming forever would interpret the rules that we have and apply them to situations that are not covered by the rules. So I think maybe that might be what he was.
Yeah, I know. I was busting chops. No, I agree.
I just realized I'm on my 45th year.
Yeah, me too.
That's older than. That's longer than Greg.
That's old. Yeah, that's older than you.
Yeah,
I've only got
About the same.
41. I've only got 41.
I started
39.
when I was 13.
I got
44, 40.
Somebody add that up real quick.
Yeah.
I
I'm 30.
came
I'm
on-
39.
Okay, so
79.
a thing about saving throw. Yes, I looked through the beta rules, and the command spell has what I think she's going to do with saving throw. If your command is ever directly harmful to creature, it may make a charisma check opposed to your last spell casting check. On a success, the spell ends.
So wait, the charisma check was compared directly to the casting roll?
Yes. So you
that's
you rolled it before you cast command. You made a roll.
That's
And
how the turn on dead worked. Okay.
That's the DC for the player character to resist.
That's
command
cool.
if it's
I like that because then
if it's
you
harmful.
really roll well.
If your command is to tell the person to fart, well, they got no save.
There you go.
Noted.
Right.
Embarrassing.
I like how you could have gone. They can just tell you things or something. You went with the fart. That was a good.
Hey, well, potty
So
joke.
Tim hasn't said anything. Tim, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I think it's a good base system for a lot of things. It's got some cool mechanical things worked into it. Long-term campaign. I can see some things that might become maybe routine but it's like any type of system that's going to have those types of thing. But I don't see a problem. I don't see it being limited because I could do a hex crawl with this. I could do city adventures with this. I don't see what it couldn't do. I mean, of course I'd have to switch a few things the way I would do them, but it wouldn't be that difficult. It's not that big of a shift. I mean, to switch things over. And then the experience points, which you were saying too, Matt. I mean, the experience points is so arbitrary anyways. I mean, it depends on, like Eric's system goes by how many sessions you go,
Yep.
XP by gold, XP by, then you have platform. What I like about this one that addresses your thing too, Matt, is like they get a little something every time you level up. The only thing that happens there is if you keep rolling 7s and 9s and everything, you're going to, like in a fighter, you're always going to get +2s in your strength and your constitution.
Yeah, that's a problem in Traveler also, like during character generation, where like if you keep rolling the 7, you're going to get the same result off the 2d6.
Yeah, because I'd almost prefer a wider range and not a bell curve. I'd rather have like a D20 of things that I can get.
Actually, in Professor Dungeon Master's video, he talked about how he liked that she split the bell curve. But the first thing that I thought was, Jesus, you're going to get a +1 to hit, or like on the priest, you're going to get a +1 to hit or a +1 on your spell check every single time, just about. And I was like, I could see some power creep showing up on that, but I don't know.
I'd like to disagree with what Redcap dropped. I mean, he can like whatever he wants, but it goes against my philosophy on equipment. Is to flood the players with equipment. Yeah, crowbars, grappling hooks, and stuff like that, taking up a whole slot out of equipment makes it so that you really aren't carrying that much. And I really like to put a lot of. I think if the players have more capability that's not tied to their class abilities, that's important, because then you can start to get a lot of flexibility outside of your niche. Yes, you're a thief. Yes, you can do these 8 thief things, but you can also pick up tons of equipment and do a wide range of stuff that's totally unrelated to thieving.
Right.
But if you can't pick up all that stuff, then you are just a thief.
Well, here's my criticism about thieves. Because nobody played one in this, so we really didn't get a run for it.
No.
But it basically, from my reading of it, real quick, when I was thinking about running it, was a thief gets advantage on all thiefy things. Mechanically, we know from somebody who did a 5e breakdown, mechanically, an advantage gives you a +4 if you just wanted to convert it the old school way, right? So that means a thief is only +4 better on every roll than any other class in picking a lock or doing other bullshit like that. I didn't like that. I thought there should be some, maybe not going back to percentages, but maybe thieves are the only class that can do certain things. You know, that and then I reiterate again what I said earlier about the Magic User. If you're going to give a D12 table for fuck ups, you should give a D12 table for critical successes.
No, definitely.
You know?
I agree.
So, hold on, go back to Joe's comment. So you think you should still split up the thief abilities? Is that what you're saying?
think there's certain things that only a thief can try. I think that there should be a few things like pick locks. The base. I know they can't backstab. It looks like maybe I don't know. I forget. But certain things should be thief only. Right? Anybody could try to sneak around.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can sneak around, sure, but a thief should have advantage on that. But certain things only a thief should do, like a pick a lock. There should be certain things that you got to, class protection. I think.
Well,
I don't know.
I agree with you in theory, but I mean that's one of the reasons why in my game I broke out thieves into basically there's 6 classes of fighter thieves, is I think that the thief is too tight of a niche. I mean, there's like a thuggish like Rob has a thug class. I have a brigand class. There's more of the kind of con man, smart talk, fast talking guy. There's the kind of person who is more fighter, but just occasionally dabbles. It balances all around, and ends up being. That's why I let every non-magical character choose how they spend points in my system, so they can flex it out. If you're gonna niche hard, like this game has just 4 niches. I mean, I do think in that case, yes, I'd like to see more power into that thief.
Did you read the
I think a thief. I think a
backstab
thief
ability
is
is pretty cool.
The backstab, you say?
Yeah, you deal an extra die of damage, but add additional weapon dice of damage equal to half your level round down. So if you're 6th level, you backstab, you add 1 die. Just reading this, and then you add 3 more.
Right, to the initial
your backstab is like uber deadly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
we're gonna have to. We could go on forever, folks.
Yeah.
3.5 hours.
And we will.
And we will. I'm gonna probably rip the post game discussion out and put up as its own.
You're killing me, Eric. No, just kidding.
No, I know. But listen, the live stream was
rip
great.
me out. Okay.
I'm sorry, Rob. We got. We'll never end. Have you noticed? I've been silent because there's just
Eric's like, I want to go fuck to bed.
I need my glass of wine, and I need to relax.
It's at 815,000, guys. Just an update on it. What it's at.
Wow.
815,000.
What it's been on like a week, I think.
19 days. It's been on 11, I think. Then.
Wow.
Well, here I'm going to put something else in perspective. The live stream on Wednesday has 200 views so far. We have 218. We're still fucking going.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I would like to say that even whatever issues I have, I'd rather you give all your money to this person than go to Wizards of the Coast. Please do not give Wizards of the Coast 1 penny. They're assholes who are trying to steal the fucking hobby. Fuck them. Don't give them any money.
That in the summary, Eric.
Support anyone else.
I know that
anyone else other than Watsy.
I know this joke is getting tired, but Greg, I don't think you really told us how you feel about this.
Fuck those fuckers.
You better kill it quick, Eric.
Sorry, I'm joking here. Listen, I'll tell my one thing in. As for thieves, you know what? Then non-thieves should be at a disadvantage. Thieves are at an advantage.
I think we need to ask one more question though. Is she going to have an open license for this stuff?
She has a license for it.
Yes, it's already up. Yeah,
it's on the website.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really critical. It's its own license. She's very generous with it. So I'll link it to you later, Rob.
So when is Rob going to release Black Marsh, the ShadowDark version?
I don't know about that. I all I have is Hit Dice 5, so it's for every classic D&D or it's for everything, even
Shadow Marsh.
Shadow Marsh.
Okay, there I go. There I can make Shadow Marsh. That will attract me.
Question for you guys. I've been trying to remember every time I see somebody with a carousing table. is it my memory? I've never heard of carousing before Jeff Rents from Jeff's Game Blog. I thought he created it. Was he the first, or did somebody else do it before him?
No clue.
I could swear it was him. So every time I see carousing, they got that from Jeff, but I don't know.
Maybe the first one that we've ever seen online, but I'm pretty sure that there was similar stuff going on before in like stuff that happened out in the West Coast. They were doing all that crap back then.
Those carousers out in the West Coast.
All right. I feel like a parent going, listen, I really got to turn out the light. Turn off your fucking iPad and go to sleep. As usual, folks, everybody, the panel, thank you. Our live comments, thank you. Please, folks, we have no vested interest in ShadowDark other than we wanted to give it a try.
Yeah,
you know? And I think we gave it a very good try.
And I don't think we got canceled. Did anybody say anything stupid?
We were temporarily monetarily limited, and then I guess we were on long enough to say fuck it.
All right.
You're back to being monetized. So I don't know.
Funny.
Nice.
I don't know. All right, folks, we're out of here. I'm not even gonna do my spiel. Catch you later.
Later, guys.
Common sense.
Bye, guys.
Use your common sense. Yes.